Hi everyone, welcome to Avini Vibes. This is Thursday night and it's September 28th, 2023. And just want to make sure I say, so we make no medical claims, okay? We share natural health solutions with our Avini natural products, okay? All right, so and we have Chip with us. Yay. I love that he comes and makes us a priority. It's so awesome. And so tonight, we if you want to maybe share some testimonials, and then we'll maybe ask some questions with Chip, and that's what we'll do tonight. And we have some, I think, some new people that will be joining us very shortly. They're trying to get on. And so we're going to have an awesome call. Okay. So Kyle, we did not really hear from you last week. How about you come share with us what's happening, because Dallas is around the corner, and just share what's going on. Did we get into our new building?
Oh yeah. So we're into the new building. All sorts of stuff is happening there. Exciting stuff, of course. You guys have been hearing me talk about that forever. I'm excited. I get maybe like some secret updates because my daughter is working there now, which is really exciting. So next time you guys grab your bottle of Cell Defender or your fiber, you can say, "Hey, Kyle's daughter probably made this." But no, everything's going super good from what I understand there. It's you guys, it's going to be incredible with the capabilities now that the company has to produce our product. Um, I couldn't be more excited about it. Truthfully, it's as Chip knows, and some of us that have kind of been around, and Joe, and to see kind of the evolution of companies is sometimes scary because companies make the wrong decisions, and when you have a company that's doing it right, making the right decisions, and you watch, somebody that I consider to be family, Neil, of course, right? When I watch him move us into this facility and commit for a minimum of 5 years, and with his brain and what he knows and how he operates business, you go, oh my gosh, like this is real. Like this is really happening, not fly by night. And I always say that, guys, like it's so incredible to have that feeling and that actual knowing where we're going and what we're doing and the lives that we're going to be changing one by one. And I had that conversation with Joe last night. Actually, Joe's on this call, Mr. Big Gulp, and that's a whole other story we'll have to tell one of these days. But it doesn't matter how long it takes. It's just one by one, and that's really how we're going to go do this. We're going to be able to change a lot of people's lives one by one, and the power of that is unreal. So shifting into Dallas, I really hope everybody is going. If you haven't got your tickets, you've probably seen the emails. The prices are about to increase. Come Sunday, the 1st, prices are going to go up. But I will tell you guys this. I want this to be very clear. Anybody that gets started, so say maybe you have some new distributors or things that start coming in on the 1st and up to the event, they can get the earlier price. But all of us that have been around and been in the business and maybe kind of dragged our feet a little bit getting our tickets, we have to pay the increased price. We had all the opportunity in the world, but anybody new can get the better price. So make sure you guys get on that. The hotel rooms are shrinking, right? We're running out of rooms. Tickets are going down. So get on that, guys. You don't want to miss this event. I can't spill any of the secrets, but I can promise you guys this event is going to be incredible. I truthfully feel that this is going to be the tipping point for me for so many reasons, for the content and the things that are going to come out in regards to the direction of the company, to the new products being released. Did I say that? I won't say what they are. I can just say that. Some of the new tools that are right here at our fingertips that we have worked very, very hard to create, that I think is going to make everybody's experience just so much better. Not that it's already not great, but you know what I'm saying? Just everything that's coming to be is just phenomenal. So, it's a very exciting time. And obviously here we are, we're a couple days from the end of the month. So I hope everybody is excited about that too, because I know a lot of you, I can see some names on this call that are right there doing some very big things. And that's super exciting. And then while I have you, you know what? While I'm talking right now, I need to share this with you guys, Carol especially, and I hope you don't mind. I'm going to share this with you and your group, and I'm going to I'm grabbing my phone so I can pull up the exact dates here. But next week, I believe it's October 6th. Where did it go? It is October 6th, and I'm going to tell you where it is. I have the ability, if you guys would be interested, to go see John Maxwell. If you're familiar with John Maxwell, I can get you guys tickets. If you guys would like to go, it is a leadership summit with Maxwell, October 6th from 6 to 8 p.m. at the South Bay Church in Riverview, Florida. So I know that's down by you guys.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
So if you guys want to put together a group of people, and that goes for anybody. I mean, I know Alan's up here in Jackson, Ed, Jax, and whatnot. But if you guys want to go, let me know, and I can arrange to get you guys all tickets to go see John Maxwell. Kind of a private event, so that could be a lot of fun for everybody. Just, John Maxwell is a legend, and he's a phenomenal coach and teacher, so it could be very worth your time if you guys want to go. So Friday 6 to 8, just let me know as soon as possible, and I'll make sure I get you all the info, and I'll get you guys tickets. So a very good friend of mine set this up.
October 6th, you said?
Yes, October 6th.
Okay, and what day is that? Do you know?
That is Friday.
Okay, got it.
Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Again, South Bay Church. I had the address and everything, but it's Riverview. So again, that's kind of down in your guys' neck of the woods.
Yeah.
If anybody wants to go, please let me know, and please spread the word to your teams and everybody that's down there. I get you guys tickets. It'll be a lot of fun. I want to try and get down there. So
are you okay? All right.
Yeah, I'm planning on it.
Okay. Awesome.
So love you. Thank you for doing this call. As always, it is my favorite place to be on a Thursday night. That is for sure. So, and yeah.
I don't know if you can answer it, but I'm in a medical community, and this question has been going around in my head a little while. With the COVID vaccine being part of our genetic makeup now, and that spike protein that the vaccine carries, that we can't, well, they have found scientific evidence that we can't expel it. My question is there any way or any scientific information that says that people who've had the vaccine were able to eliminate this spike protein using Avini?
That is a great question. I'm not sure how far I should go into that. Chip, you are up, my friend. I'm going to have Chip Littlejohn come on here because obviously he is a master of product in our body. And Chip, what's your take on that, my friend?
Well, it's such a hot topic. I mean, it's really a bare wire laying in the street and you're walking up to it barefooted. It is kind of what it is. What can I tell you? I was just on earlier today with someone who is an expert, how not to fail doing this sort of thing expert. He's a Rick level guy, and he's seen, attacks on companies by government agencies. And about the worst thing you can do is get crosswise with the government. And that particular topic, even those words, are dangerous. How can I say? Just in general, that kind of a creature has to be able to get inside of your cell, and it doesn't reproduce internally like we do. So it has to cut up your DNA to make what it needs. And there's two different products that we have that have mechanisms in that kind of a pathogen. One of them is Cell Defender. And it attracts things that are positively charged inside of itself, which you would call absorption, absorption. But on the outside, it can also attract things that are positively charged that are too big to go inside. And interestingly enough, there was some studies that Rick has referred to where that kind of a pathogen, when it cuts up your DNA, then that cell dies. That's how it hurts. That's why you get a sore throat or all the other kind of problems. I'm watching your, I'm watching you bob your head yes, so you're agreeing this is all the way these things happen. And then that cell now is ruptured and the contents spill outwardly into the, I guess you'd say, interstitial fluids between the cells. And that's where assembly occurs. That's where viral assembly occurs. And the way that Cell Defender functions, the mechanism there, is that it picks up the fragments that are positively charged. They kind of stick to it like iron filings to a magnet. And then that, as you know, now that becomes near neutral in charge as it's filling itself internally with heavy metals and whatever comes and sticks to the outside. And that whole thing now becomes really easy to be plucked out of solution by the kidneys and passed in the urine. Okay, so that's kind of cool. And I remember learning about that from Rick. But then, we as a group got interested in silver. And our product is Avini Nano Silver. And we took a run at it with the guy who was a formulator, and he was a great teacher, I thought. He was kind of interesting. He had some troubles with his formulation because in this type of a product line, size and shape and charge are everything. I mean, these things have to go in you. They have to leave your gut, circulate systemically in your body fluids, right? And then they need to do whatever they do, and then they need to leave. You don't want them to get stuck in you. And one of the challenges with silver is if it was colloidal, which is a little bit bigger and not a predictable size, well, it's great on the outside. You can sure use it on a store. Almost everybody has, some kind of silver in their medicine chest, but they don't get it out very often because it doesn't do what we're able to do with nano. On the other hand, if it's too small and it's just ionic silver, that's dangerous to your immune system. And you don't obviously want to hurt your immune system while you're helping yourself. One of the goals of Rick Deitch, I've always said, is to help you while he's helping you, not risk something or hurt you while he's helping you. So interesting that product in that size and shape, so 200 atoms across, 7 nanometers in diameter, held in that size and shape so that it doesn't get too big and become colloidal. Notice the languaging here. You want your silver to be the right size, the Goldilocks size. If it gets too big, it becomes colloidal. You don't want that because then it gets stuck in you and turns you blue. That's called argyria. If you your skin starts, you don't want it to get too small, which is called ionic, because that's dangerous to the immune cells. You want it to be just that right size and shape so it comes in, goes out, does its work, and leaves. And in that particular case, the work is upstream from the mechanism we just talked about with the micronized activated zeolite we call detoxylate. And so that is really what earned the avenue in for a silver product. And I have to give Doug Dickey credit because he searched the world over to find a way to get a silver that would hold its size and shape. Okay, and that's how we got Avini Nano Silver. And so it essentially disables those little things that you were trying to describe earlier and you see pictures of. Those are tools or keys to break into the cell. And it screws up or somehow impedes the ability to cut into the cell to then go to the next step. So it's an upstream mechanism. And so that's pretty cool. So I kind of like made up medical terms. So, trying to answer your question without saying the wrong thing. Everybody is kind of looking for an undo button. And as near as I've found, just for me, and what would I do if it was me that was in trouble, or if I was living in this world and fearful of such things? I'd be looking for an undo button. And I think those two mechanisms we just talked about, which are provable, mechanisms proven by research. We can always refer to existing research. We can talk about an ingredient, and then of course we can say that that ingredient is in our product. And so it's just a particular affliction that's become so dangerous, where I don't even want to say any more about it, but I think everybody knows. So in summary, all that I just said is I don't want to answer your question.
I completely got it. Thank you for your
skillfully avoided.
Look at her face. You guys see her face yesterday. Her face was way bigger than that. And she started taking the silver last night, and it's gone down from last night. And I don't know, are you still in pain, Nikita?
No pain.
Oh.
Well, I thought she was going to say that you were. I'm just looking at your face and your skin, and it looks terrific to me. I don't know what kind of a miracle we got going here, but this first time I've met you, you look like you're fine to me.
Oh, thank you. This really works.
Yay.
And which product did you take, Nikita?
I gargled or switched around the silver in my mouth. I have a teeth that's infected that infected my sinuses. And then also sprayed it over the area. And so yeah. I can't go to surgery for a couple of days. So I needed something because I couldn't get antibiotics in. They sent me the wrong one. I was allergic to it. And so I had to wait 24 hours. And I was like, Mom, what can I do? She's like, take this silver. And I did. And like less than 2 hours later, everything had went down. It was soft. It's cool. And then I woke up in the morning. I had gotten a little, so I was like, Mom, can I get some more silver? So I'm like, yeah, I think I need to put that in the medicine cabinet.
Well, that's, and that's really, that's good, smart dentistry. Who's the best, medical field as far as prevention goes? It's probably the dentist, and it's just hygiene. And when you go and they know that there might be some bacteria that are in a pocket that could escape and hurt you bad, maybe even go to your heart. I had a buddy that was raised, well, he was not raised, is what happened. His dad took him to a work farm someplace in northern Italy when he was a kid, dropped him off and never came to pick him up. And he had rheumatic fever when he was a kid and had a dental procedure, and the bacteria went to that scar in his heart, and the piece broke off and went to his brain and killed him. And that's why they're so cautious about that sort of thing. And so I love that you talked about swishing it around and using it for a mouthwash. One of the things I learned about a lot this week was just the danger of killing everything in your microbiome all the time using mouthwash. And so if we can use our products and be selective, I was going to say, Nikita, another really cool thing about that product is, where else can you go? And I do have an answer for this, but where else can you go and kill part of your microbiome and leave the good part? That's one of the challenges with antibiotics is they're not selective, right? They kill the good and bad together. And so, interestingly enough, the nature of the silver against bacteria is effective against the ones that are, not designed to live within us. I mean, they're a pathogen when they're in us, but the ones that are designed to live in our mucous membranes protect themselves better. And the silver will unzip the protective lining on the outside of a bad bacteria, but it won't harm the ones that are part of our good microbiome. And so think a little bit about this, you guys. The danger zone in a hospital, when they open up your skin in a hospital. Right now, there's a couple of different kinds of bacteria that we don't have an antibiotic for. Can anybody remember? There's two of them. Anybody know what they are? One of them starts with the C.
MRSA. I mean,
Okay.
MRSA.
Okay, that's the other one.
Mm-hmm,
Yep.
MRSA. Yeah,
So
MRSA.
MRSA is methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus.
MRSA.
And so, and the other one is C. diff. C. diff is Clostridium difficile. And if you get those, right now, the best way of dealing with it, and actually from the natural side, this solution came. Has anyone heard of a fecal transplant? They take the digestive contents from the colon of a healthy person and transfer it into the sick person and let your good microbiome fight with their bad microbiome. And when I first heard that, I thought, that is genius. And I thought, I could be like a fecal transplant donor. I could do that for my work, you know. And I thought I had it made, you know. I thought, I'm one of the first people to know about this, kind of like one of the first people to know about Avini, right? This is going to be big. And then I found out that they prefer to have a family member who is a healthy living person. And so you know all this stuff. I see you bobbing your head at all the right times. You know all this.
They pick a family member because they have the most in common bacteria, because they eat together and live together, and that's why they pick someone close to them, preferably somebody that lives in the same household. So
you said you're coming from a medical community. Just tell us a little bit about you.
My name is Nikita, and I was trained as a physician in Dominican Republic.
Okay.
So yeah, I am a physician. And currently I am teaching high school algebra for 11th and 12th graders, and
Wow.
Going back to take my licensing exam here in the next 6 months. So, yep.
You know, I'd hate to steal you from those kids, but we'd like to have you working here.
Wow. That's an honor. Thank you.
I'm going to tell you guys something I don't think I've ever told anybody on one of these calls. You know, one of the points of frustration in my life, I was, you know, after special forces, after I'd been the farm manager for the university, and I was in a spot where I needed some work, and I went to the high school where my wife Marcy grew up. She was a track star there. She still held records for years and years. She was really fast, and they needed somebody told me they needed a biology teacher, and I thought, well, I would like to do that. But when I got there, it got down to me and one other person, and the other person had a degree in biology, and I had a degree in economics.
Okay.
But interesting thing though, I got the degree in economics because that was my weak point. I actually got a master's degree in economics because I wasn't good at it, and I didn't like it as much. I was trying to fix myself back up, but I've thought over the years, you know, I just thought I would have been the right person for that job. That's what I thought, and I'd have loved working with the kids and telling them the kind of stuff. But now I get to do it with you guys, and you know what a wonderful group of people to work with, and Nikita, you know, you're going to be effective telling about Avini. I can just tell it's the coolest stuff to know. I think maybe you're beginning to get a feel for that. We just have the breakthrough things. I was trying to think, okay, if they, you know, if Carol said, okay, Chip, say something, what would you say tonight? And I had a little something prepared in my mind, and you improved on that by being here, I think. But this is something I use a lot. Where does this come from? Where did our biochemist Rick Deitch come from? He was working at the Duke Cancer Research Institute with 2 Nobel Prize winners. They got their Nobel Prizes because they were developing chemotherapy drugs. So it was Monroe Wall with Taxol. If you're in that community at all, you know Taxol. And they also, Gertrude Elion was in her 80s at that time. She got a Nobel Prize also in the same field, and they were working with camptothecin. That same group, by the way, developed the anti-rejection drugs that are used today for everyone who gets an organ transplant. So my point being that Avini comes from smart, and it attracts smart. Very bright people are coming here, or people who hunger for, some insight, some way to, crack a nut in a different way. And I got a feeling if you're working in the Dominican Republic as a physician, you think about what we just talked about. Inexpensive, extremely powerful intervention, better than the other ways. But we held it until the last thing, because it was the not such a profitable thing. I guess apparently people are willing to give a poop sample almost for nothing. And so there went the other part of my economic plan, because I was going to sell it, but oh well, it didn't work out that way. But what was Rick's job there? He, as I said, was a computer-assisted drug designer. So he could simulate in a couple of weeks what it would take, years to do in the lab. And they gave him the job. They knew that camptothecin was near perfect in lab animals. Rick's line is, you give me a lab animal with a tumor and I can cure it with camptothecin. But when they tried to go into human trials, it plugged up the kidneys of the humans. Turned out that we have a different protein, circulating human albumin, that the rats don't have, and that adheres to the camptothecin and plugs up the kidneys. So his job was to, make something, add an ester here and amine there, on the chain so that it wouldn't stick anymore. But interestingly enough, his job was to make those things hurt you less. But in his mind, he was thinking, okay, we're always risking something to help these people. We're always hurting them to help them. So we're kind of like pulling back the slingshot in his brain, because we're creating this thought in Rick Deitz's mind. Well, isn't there some way to help people to help? I mean, wouldn't that be the ultimate answer? So he gets married, has kids, needs money. Does that sound familiar? Anybody been through anything like that? And jumps out of his PhD program, gets picked up by Rexall Corporation when they're wanting to have a healthy product line. They were a huge retail drug chain. Well, where did our CEO, Neil Roth, come from? Huge retail drug chains. But he got picked up by Rexall too, because he was interested in healthy products. So that's where Neil and Rick met. Rexall picked up Rick to help them formulate these healthy products. He was so good at it when within a year, he was the best guy they had. So he was their lead product formulator. But he still had a problem. There was still a huge bureaucracy of this huge network hanging over his head, just like the university and the medical staff had been hanging over his head before, that wanted to modify the way that he solved the problem. Couldn't we do it cheaper? Couldn't we make two products out of one? Couldn't we cut a corner someplace? And so he was still spring loaded to do things. And in his career, it just kept happening over and over and over. Some huge bureaucracy hanging over his head that wouldn't let him do what he really knew he could do. And so what you have found in Avini is started May of 2022, so a year and a half old. This is his freedom. This is when we finally let Rick do what we've always wanted to let him do. And that is to run uninhibited, to bring his discoveries of a lifetime under one roof, to make it available to people. And he loves meeting you. He loves talking to us. He loves hearing the story in person. His line is, I saw what it was like when there was a shelf behind my product. Then I saw what it was like when there was a person who loved my product behind my product. Oof. And for him, it was an easy decision to support network marketing. Maybe an easy decision, but it's not been an easy life. It's I mean, there's a lot of work going on, and I see Kyle's kind of realizing, oh yeah, well, both, all of us too. I mean, you look around the group here, we all have, probably wisely retired along the way, but we got called back into action because of the importance. But suddenly, our skills in learning and teaching and representing something like this are of great value, probably of value like we've never had in our lives before, to reach out and help so many people with such big ideas and such difficult issues. And so I think about some of the people I got to talk to today, and there's little tricks like, I'm just a regular guy. I come from agriculture, but I've learned that when the docs, throw out something like C. diff, if I just say, oh yeah, you mean Clostridium difficile, or they say MRSA, and I say, oh yeah, methicillin-resistant Staphylococcus aureus, they start talking Greek, so I start talking Greek and Latin, and they don't challenge me as much. It's just a little trick. Just a little trick. They think, oh, okay, well, no use trying to just put him down. But I have secondhand smart. And I would submit to you guys, secondhand smart is pretty good. I mean, we're all running on the brain that's residing in Rick Dice's head. It's the neat, cool, amazing insight he has. On the wall in his office hangs the biochemical reactions of the human body. And it's just looks like a complex page, but he said, that's where I live. I live in that page. And I find the different things that'll work within there. So I don't know if any of that's interesting or sensible to you guys, but that's the kind of, I love that. Comes from smart, attracts smart. And I offer you guys as evidence that it attracts wonderful people. So Nikita, you're the latest example, and we don't want you to just tangentially get it and spray it in your face and your mouth and go happily on your way. We want you to represent it with us.
Thank you. I accept.
All right. My work here is done, Kyle. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're so happy. I mean, I can see you're happy. You got like a full body smile on
you. Thank you. I am happy.
That a girl. Cool. Cool. Well, Carol, where are you going to take us?
Well,
done?
You took us quite a few places tonight already. So, there are some people on here that have definitely had some amazing testimonies around using these products and cleaning their bodies out and having their bodies work for them again. And so, let's just have a couple of people share. Alan, you want to share your wife's story? Because, it's pretty cool.
I love telling lots of stories about Barbara. For those who may not have heard this part of it, we met when she was 12 and I was 13 at a high school football game. And we have been, there was a 1.5 year gap there or something like that when I never saw her again. And then when I saw her the next time, it was, wow, she'd grown taller and older, and I did too. So we're now like 14, 15 years old, whatever. And anyway, but we will have been married in January, 55 years. So we're I know we're pretty well. In January of this year, Barbara has been stricken pretty unfavorably with lots of difficulties medically in the last 3 years or so. But I took her to see her nephrologist, and the nephrologist, having the lab work done, he came into the room and he told us, after reading all the categories and the numbers, he asserted that she was in 3rd stage renal failure at that moment. So And he didn't have anything to offer her because she was already on other medications that should, if there was any help, that she would get help from it. So fast forward 6 months. So in July, she went back for her next appointment with him. But Ed Kwasky called me shortly after we saw that doctor, just a day or so later, and we became a part of the Avini family. Well, I didn't know anything much about it. My ignorance was shining brightly always, but I chose to try it and chose to get Barbara on the Cell Defender and the Z Immunity mushrooms and the Nano Silver and the fiber. So when we went back to see the doctor in July, he came in and he was more pleasant than the last time. Just the countenance on his face was significantly different. And he said, I want to read something to you. And he had 2 8.5 by 11 sheets of paper. And the first one was the information from January when she was in third stage renal failure. And he read the categories and the numbers again. He said, now this is July, last week when you had these blood draws done. He read those and the categories were the same. The numbers were different. So he said, this is a dramatic reversal of the January's blood test. I want to know what changed. So, and I'm sitting there being quiet. And Barbara said, I don't know, very gently. She didn't know, and she did not know. And he said, well, it's a big change. Something big had to have happened in your life for it to be this way. I want to know what it is. And she said, I don't know. Ask him. I was sitting over her shoulder there on the back on a chair. And so he turned to me and said, can you tell me? Absolutely, I can tell you. I said, the only thing that has changed in her or my life, dietary, lifestyle, the only thing that's changed is Avini Health products. He said, so what's in these products that could make such a dramatic difference? So I asked him, I said, zeolite, do you know what zeolite is? He said, I want you to tell me what you think it is and what it does. So I said, okay, it's volcanic ash and rock that's from the bowels of the earth by God's design. It came out and went into it became magma as it was molten rock. And it went into the farmers' fields and ditches and streams and rivers and lakes and oceans. And when it got to the salt water, that which did get there, the salt water made a big difference in the makeup of it in some fashion. I don't know. But they've been using it medicinally for many years or in the medical field too, for different purposes for a lot of years. And it has a negative charge. As it goes through the human body, it attracts things that are positively charged. And that's bacteria and heavy metals and the ugly stuff that's in our lives that should not be there. And by the natural processes of the body, it takes it outside the body, leaving behind clean cells that can then, by God's design again, grow into healthy cells. And that's what has happened and is currently happening in her life. And that is the only thing that's different. And he said, well, whatever you're doing, keep doing it. Now, I don't know how long it took to tell that story, 3 or 4 minutes, but that 3 or 4 minute story was 6 months of taking these products. And the value of what it has done for her is off the scale of what would have happened potentially had we not taken Eddie's advice. He was as ignorant as I was. He just got started the day before, so he didn't know much. Anyway, he knows a lot more now.
So Alan knows that I come from a railroad family. And Alan, you're a railroad engineer, is that correct?
No, I was a train dispatcher.
You were a train.
I was an operator first, and then train dispatcher.
Okay, so I was actually an engine dispatcher in North Platte, Nebraska, in the old roundhouse. When I was still 17 years old, they didn't have anybody that was 18 that knew how to do it, and I'd already been trained. So that's crazy cool. What railroad were you working for?
Seaboard Coastline was where I started, and that morphed into CSX Transportation, and okay. I was there 42 years and 4 days.
So I was my family was Union Pacific, but The nephrologist is looking at Alan Way and saying, crazy what CSX Railroad teaches their engineers these days, right? I mean, how's this dude know this stuff? He's secondhand smart, you know? And then the value of it when you apply it to people, you don't have to know all that stuff. I mean, it actually did its work before he knew any of that, I think. Is that
exactly.
right?
I had no idea what the blood test was going to, had no idea what the blood test was going to show until the doctor told me.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the cool thing is, sure, Alan and Barbara's results were exceptional. Turns out they weren't the exception, because when we reach out to others in the same situation, one of the most important things about research has to be dependable and reproducible. So when you go to another person, another one person, the same benefit occurs, the same result. And if somebody wants to understand why that happened, essentially we made easy for her kidneys things that were impossible before. We gathered up some of these poisons, made them into a little neutral package inside the zeolite cage, and that, by size, shape, and charge, was very easy for the kidneys to sort out. Now, whatever capacity she had left was enough to deal with her daily metabolic waste, because it wasn't preoccupied doing something it wasn't designed to do. That is so powerful, because to happen that quickly, over time, you know, her kidneys will replace themselves with healthier tissues in that environment. But pretty much everything that happens quick is something that was non-optional, that your body had to put up with and deal with, all of a sudden was done by the products. And so you were freed up, your immune system freed up to do something, your digestive system free to do what it was designed to do, instead of being tasked with things that it couldn't do. And all of us benefit like that. You know, in her case, it was dramatic, but the exact same thing was going on inside of Alan and every one of us. You know, same thing with our brains. You see these kids that have these incredible reversals in their development in a short time. It's just that their little brain cells were trying to get in touch with each other and couldn't quite do it. All of a sudden they could. So, you know, to hear Alan tell that story, right? If I say that, everybody knows I'm going to like it, but isn't it cool when just every person that tries has a story like that? Yep. We've stepped into a stream of miracles. Yeah. And they're miracles that you can participate in. And, you know, don't fear, they're not going to quit happening because you need one. They're not going to quit happening because it's you that offers. That's so beautifully told, Alan. And, you know, here's the frustrating thing for Nikita. She's sitting there and she's saying, okay, well, the doc told her, keep doing what you're doing. Why didn't he say, you're the best patient I've ever had? I'd like all my patients to have that result. Tell me more. I mean, that's the next level question. It's not keep doing it. The next level question is, I've never had a patient do that well before. What's our goal when we go into a physician? We want to be the best patient they've ever had. We want to have the best results they've ever seen. When we do that, why can't it be that they, like Nikita, look at it and say, I'd like to have that result for myself and everyone I know? Why is that such a big jump? It's because, I don't know, it's just because.
It's a big one. And I do believe with all of the people that that have these kinds of testimonials, they're going to have to listen at some point. They're going to have to listen.
The other thing is they could decide to kill us. And I was on with a guy today and he said, beware, you know, make sure you talk cleanly, you know, tell the stories properly. Don't use a whole bunch of, you know, don't act like your doctor. We can't diagnose, cure, treat, heal. prescribe, none of that stuff. Those things are all there, you know, to protect us from the ill effects of interventions that could hurt you.
Absolutely.
And we're not that. We're doing things that are actually good for you. If Nikita said she was going to be in the Olympics next summer, we do the exact same things with her.
Yeah. And that is very real, guys. I was in 2 other programs and they got shut down for making medical claims. It's very real. And we love our Avini products. We don't want them going away. So we want to be very smart about how we share it.
Kyle, you're sitting there, you're talking to Neil a lot. I left a message on his phone today. I was on with Rich Cotter and a guy from Isagenix that used to be a formulator. And the thing that was interesting about this guy is he was really effective on that topic, the how not to fail topic, how not to get crosswise. He said, if you think the FDA is trouble, don't get crosswise with the FTC because they're just heartless.
Yeah.
And so I do know that there's things in place to protect us. We try to teach each other to speak properly and that sort of thing. We don't want to get crosswise. So, but I thought he was, he has some neat products. He'd like to, you know, what formulators want to do when they get around to Avini. They want to have part of the market. But he's an interesting guy, but what he's really, really good at, and he's on TV a lot of places. Marcy mentioned Pierce Brosnan. Turns out this guy actually looks, sounds, and acts like Pierce Brosnan, and he's his neighbor. They know each other for both from Ireland. Coolest thing. But you know, if I was looking for something of great value with this guy, one of the best speakers on how not to fail getting crosswise with the medical community. And if you have a chance and you're talking to him, Kyle, that guy that Rich has, that the old Isagenix guy, the Irish guy, let him say, you know, this guy might have some value to us. And I didn't get to talk to Neil live, but it wouldn't hurt. And you know, if you're in touch with Rich Cotter, but
yeah,
the guy is sharp, and he's really good on that topic. And we need to be good on that topic.
We do. You're absolutely right. I couldn't agree with you more.
So I think it's an opportunity that just popped up in front of my face today. And I don't think he was thinking that was his greatest value to us, but it just jumped out of the screen at me. I thought, you know, people are going to like to listen to this guy. You know, he's got a cool accent. Marcy from clear across the room said, who is that? What a cool voice, you know? And so, yeah, anyway, he's got a message that we could benefit from. And I think, you know, Neil's good about it. Neil really stresses it, but this guy's tougher than Neil is. He's tougher, you know, he's the toughest guy on that topic and wants people to do it right. He said, don't use the word detox. I said, I didn't even know that was a cuss word. My kids, they'd hear people say the word pain and they'd say, dirty word, dirty word. And I had to tell them finally, I said, well, you know, we have additional dirty words in our family that other families don't think is a dirty word because we couldn't say pain, you know, at our house. Don't say that word.
So we're not supposed to use detox?
Well, that's what he said. He said that's another hot topic. So he said find another way of saying it. And so that's why
because I've been calling them my detox drops.
Okay, so you know, it's hygiene. It's a way to take a shower on the inside and wash away things you couldn't get rid of before, to deep clean yourself and benefit in that way. So I think it's kind of a worn out word anyway, and we got to find a way of saying it in a more compelling way. I like shower on the inside.
That's too many words. That's too many words. I got to come up with something else then.
On the inside.
All right. Well, you might be the person that comes up with the way to say it. Work on it.
We have the solution to your body's pollution.
Marcy says she's the trash collector.
I love that.
Today.
I think that's so funny. The trash.
And also, I say we have the solution to your body's pollution.
That what? Say that again.
She's over my shoulder here, and she's saying we have the solution to your body's pollution.
The solution to our body's pollution. I love that.
Or I'm the trash collector, and I'm here for yours today.
Yeah.
I think you guys have been on 2 hours.
Oh, I didn't mean to. I was trying to be short. Sorry. Are we
We haven't
done?
been on 2 hours. I wanted to share.
On up in the back.
Yes. Okay, go ahead, Novella. Yes.
So I just wanted to say, so I'm writing this book, and it's called F That, and the subtitle is Forgive, of course. What did you think it meant? And so of course it's all about forgiveness. But here's the thing: as I'm writing this book, so I've been writing this book for the past 2 years. Okay. And why I have been writing this book so long is because I would get into it, and then next thing you know, I have so many different versions of this book. It's ridiculous. And why that is because my mind kept forgetting. It kept forgetting, and then I would look and I would find a version of it, and I'm like, I have, like 16 different versions of this book. Okay. So I was actually today going through and deleting, finding these different versions and deleting them. And I have to tell you that it felt so good, because since I would say, I don't know, maybe a couple of years ago, I had actually thought I was getting like Alzheimer's or dementia. And I didn't tell anybody because I was scared, scared to death. Okay. And, I was like, okay, I'm forgetting things. I have these holes in my memory. And I've been a coach and a speaker and a presenter, like pretty much since, for the past 30 years, up until a few years ago. It's kind of difficult to stand on stage and then all of a sudden you don't know what you're talking about. So I was just like, okay, got it. That part of my life is kind of like over. And then I did the Avini, and Kira was like, oh, Novella, you're gonna have so much energy, and I'm like, ain't nobody gonna have that much energy anyway. You got too much, okay? So, and she's like, oh, and I had just come from Detroit, visiting my sister because she was in the hospital, and Carol had sent me a bottle. She said, I'm gonna send you this bottle, and I believe in this, and did it, and I was like, yeah, okay, I got back and I was tired, took that bottle. Yeah, it, did some things, and I was very happy about, the things that it did, but it was nothing. I mean, I just felt back to normal, right? I was doing things that I hadn't done for a while. But I tell you what, when I got that my memory was back, like that was a game changer. And now sitting and working and doing the things that I love doing, thinking that I wasn't ever going to be, I had just resigned myself. That was life. It's okay. Not a big deal. Wasn't upset by it, but oh my God, I have my life back. I can speak, I can talk, I have conversations with people, I make a difference with them, I'm back coaching. I mean, hey. So, listen, I didn't even know that it had the power to do any of this. I thought, like Carol said, it was just going to get me energetic. So, this is the only thing that I've done that could attest for it. I mean, there wasn't anything else that I was doing. I can't say that, oh, I did this, and I don't know which one, because there's lots of people that I'm sharing with, and they're like, well, I don't know, because I do so many things, and I don't know which one it is. Well, I know which one. So I just wanted to share that with you all.
Yes, and you did not share. One of the biggest things is, guys, Novella and I are creating a women's empowerment group for Africa women. And she's going to lead that course. And that was not going to be possible before this.
Wouldn't have done it.
No. How amazing.
Yes, thank you, Carol.
I love it. I love it. Okay, well, it's 8:27, and wow, what an amazing call once again. Guys, invite people to this call when you are sharing with people and they want to know more about Avini and our products. Invite them to this call, because it's always a call that leaves you inspired and moved and touched, and that is what this call is all about, is that we do the heavy lifting for the people you're talking to, so you don't have to do it all. This is a team effort. And that's what, thank you, Kyle, so much for this comp plan, because it is a team effort. It really works as a team effort. So
Bill with his hand up. Bill's
okay, Bill, go for it. You'll be the last person and then we'll close out. I just want to say to Christine, we are sending our love and our prayers, and we miss you. We miss you. So come back to us soon. Bill, go for it.
Yeah, thank you. These next 5 weeks, I'll be occupied in a landmark seminar, so I won't be around for 5 weeks. I'll come back on the 6th week. We have a break. I just want to say that life is great without my antidepressants. I'm not tired, lethargic, nauseated. So I just love Cell Defender, as well as, the Nano Silver and the mushrooms, so it's all great.
Wonderful. Really wonderful. All right. So guys, thank you so much for an amazing call once again. I recorded, so it will go up into YouTube, and then I will make sure I send it out so that we can get it out to everybody. And by the way, I just got to shout out, Marcy, your video, your call that you did last week is, I think, around 70 views already. It's huge. It's got huge marks. So anyway, yeah, keep coming back to this call, because it really will inspire you. It will have you be an enthusiast for our products. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you once again. I can't wait. Bunches of you in Dallas. Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Good night, all.
Everybody.